I just found one of the most insane movement or traversal mechanics probably in the history of Warzone. I don't know if this is broken or if it's meant to be this way. I personally love it, but regardless, you need to know how it works right now so you can get to jump, right, literally, on your opponent. Okay, now, typically with a new season, we'll have some hidden buffs and nerfs of things who kind of slip through the cracks, and I'm gonna have about a dozen of those in a future video, but this is so incredible, I had to dedicate an entire video to it. So, if you guys weren't tracking, a blog post just went live today, and this is just kind of a quick catch me up. They have nerfed the superior, they nerfed the damage range by just a little bit, and they also got rid of the mid damage range. I'll have to see how that affects the time to kill. We'll keep an eye on that. They also brought back the fire rate up for the Core 45. Important to note, if that starter pistol, if you hated it before, they have patched that. And then also a major one is there is a huge lapse in Ricochet where the Xbox Game Pass was allowing people to slip through the anti-cheat system. That has been resolved. I played a few matches. It is significantly less prevalent. It was legitimately like every single match, and now I haven't ran into any since the update has hit live. That's not to say they're not out there. That's not to say they're not going to constantly try to beat it, but it is a massive difference from the last few days. Now let's get into this broken movement mechanic, okay? And these all compound together, so stay with me step by step because it just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Okay, the very first one is in a previous video, we talked about how with Mountaineer, you could fall up to 26 meters without dying and up to 13 meters without dying. You would also have partial fall damage at 6.5 and 13 meters. And that's where when you jump, you would take a small amount of damage, which in my opinion is a really big deal because that stops your health regeneration if you're trying to run and jump away and you take a little bit of damage. I've never liked that mechanic, but here you can see instead of 6.5 meters, I can fall all the way up to 7.5 meters. Now you're like, Isaac, 1 meter? Is that big of a deal? It keeps getting better. Okay, now instead of dying whenever I fall 13 meters, now I can go a lot farther, all the way up to, if you look at the beginning of the clip, 16 meters down at the bottom of my screen right here. 16 meters I jump and I survive. So that's an increase of 4 meters. You see here up to 17 meters I die. But with Mountaineer, it gets even crazier. Now here's some examples of without Mountaineer, places you would have originally died, right? I'm on top of Firehouse. We're here fighting this all the time. And at 14 meters, pre-update, this would have killed me. But with this update, you survive. No problem. But you can even survive all the way from the top now without Mountaineer. Now, it's right at that threshold of 17 meters. So if you jump, it'll be too much. But in general, I think the less times that we have to pull our chute and get into that awkward animation, the better. So that is all without Mountaineer. So fall damage definitely got nerfed, but Mountaineer got buffed on top of it. Okay, let's check out the legitimately crazy numbers for Mountaineer. So you'll see Mountaineer beforehand, we had 13 meters of partial fall damage. Now I can go all the way up to 15 meters without partial fall damage. You'll see at 15.5, I take that little bit of damage. You can see that little sliver here starts to regenerate. Now I can survive 34 meters. That is all the way up at the top. 34 meters jumping with Mountaineer. And you live. That is an increase, if you don't remember, from 26 meters all the way up to 34. And then if you're right at the top, right at 35, the very top, and you walk off, you will die. So what does that mean? Well, on the map now, you can just jump off of some places that, I mean, you don't even need to think about. It's like you're playing Apex a little bit where you might get a little bit of that stagger, but you can jump off incredible distances now. And for me, for movement traversal, I think this is a great change. I don't want them to change this, honestly, just because I think the parachute animation is so awkward and you have the punishment of losing a significant portion of your health if you were to enter a gunfight this way, but it's gonna cause less splatting. Now, you gotta kind of learn the distances. If you're up on top of this ledge here, you can maybe like land on that little 10 piece and you would survive because that would reset your fall distance. But if you don't, it'll end up taking you out. Now, I think this is going to be amazing, especially for spots like this where we're on the same building and oftentimes you're having to rotate out. You have people underneath you and you need to rotate. But if you pull that parachute as you're jumping, you're going to die. Well, now, throw in a dive. You never have to worry about pulling your chute. You do take a significant amount of health damage, but in my opinion, it's worth it so you don't get stuck in that awkward animation. A couple more examples. We can be all the way up here on top of a radio tower. This would be lethal. But what you can do is kind of cut the damage in half, tap this on the way down. Now that resets our fall damage height, and we're set. If you are taking damage as you're falling down, you will take partial fall damage, and partial fall damage does not kill you. So let's say you're getting shot, you get all your plates cracked, and you go down to 1 HP, and then you fall. That will not kill you. Partial fall damage can only bring you down to 1 HP. It will not kill you. Now, if it brings you down to 1 HP and they hit another bullet, GG's, but that's just something to be aware of. Don't be afraid to not pull your chute. And while we are talking about ways that you can optimize your movement, you need to look into optimizing your PC as well, because this will have a drastic effect on your in-game performance. This is a state-of-the-art PC before and after. It is a 4090 14900 KS. You cannot get a better system than this. And you will see not only do you get a massive buff of about 80 additional frames on your averages, look down at your 1% lows and your 0.2% lows. That's when you feel your game hitching. And it is a massive increase of about 60 FPS as well. And if you don't have a state-of-the-art rig, it's actually going to work even better for you because it's going to be a little bit more behind on the times. FPS Hub is the trusted name in the scene, from CDL pros to Warzone pros to content creators for PC optimizations, audio optimizations, and internet optimizations. They will help you with your system. If you don't get the frames, you get your money back. And on top of that, they also have an audio tune where if you listen in,
insane. That audio is just insane, chat.
A lot of players
This audio is insane.
are starting to use this to help bring out all of the clutter and just allow you to hear what you need to hear. Very similar to Art is War. They offer their own service that a lot of pros have switched to as well. I put my name behind them. They have crushed it for me. I've been using them for years to optimize my personal PCs, and now we are partnered together. The Academy loves them. Plenty of vouchers, I'm sure, down in the comments down below from their experience with FPS Hub. Link down in the pinned comment and the description. If you want to check out FPS Hub, you can use code Isaac for a discount. Without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. So, I want to admit something. I was actually a little bit wrong, okay? In a previous video, we had talked about how when you're using Mountaineer or regular, when you jump off a redeploy, you could only go the distance of 26 meters or 13 meters or, you know, anywhere above that, and you would not break your legs. It actually gets a little bit crazier than that, and this is where things start to really compound, okay? We know that we can hit redeploys, and we can go all the way up to the top, and we don't have to pull our chute, which allows us to get our gun out quicker and possibly gun an opponent who's up top. But it's actually not based on the height, it's based on the velocity. And I learned that whenever I started to use a strategy that I've used for years to not splat in the water. Whenever you're trying to land in the water, if you pull back, you will see my hands come up to my face. I can land in very, very shallow water and not break my legs. You'll see here, here's another example. I dive forward, I pull my hands back, and I live. But if I dive hard forward, you will see, in this example, it's a little bit more objective because it's in the shallow end of a pool. I dive forward, I break my legs. But if I dive forward, even in the shallow end of the pool, which you're not supposed to dive in the shallow end of the pool, I pull my hands back, and I can live in shallow water. Now, down at the bottom right, you can see the perks that I have equipped. I have Mountaineer equipped here, but this is not related to Mountaineer or not. You will see here now, I have double time equipped instead, no Mountaineer, and the exact same thing. I dive forward, and then I pull my hands back. It's actually velocity-based when we're diving that affects our fall damage. So not only can we use that to drop in on loadouts and possibly get water loadouts without breaking our legs, land on opponents and get the shots off without breaking our legs, but it also can be used in an even crazier way. Now, it's important to note the difference between you pulling your chute and pulling out your gun to shoot someone out of the air, or pulling your chute and getting the speed dive, is 50 meters. Okay, you'll see here, I get above 50 meters, I cut my chute. When I let go, at 53, I start diving down. But if I let that go down to below 50, you will see, and this is all relative AGL, above ground, so you have to make sure you are directly underneath you. I now pull up my gun. That's a useful tip if you're trying to shoot someone as you're dropping in on them. We've talked about that in the past. But where it gets really crazy is using that dive in the technique of reduced velocity to reduce your fall damage in ways I couldn't even imagine. Here I am, no Mountaineer. You can see this ledge is 69 meters away, okay? I'm 69 meters away from the ground. I drop to here. I'm roughly about, call it 29 meters for easy math. So that means the difference between those two ledges is 40 meters, right? There's no way I could survive that even with Mountaineer, because right now Mountaineer is 35 meters. Well, without Mountaineer, I'm able to jump, pull my hands back, and live with health to spare. Just wait, it gets even crazier. Once again, it is all based off velocity, okay? I'll do the same jump, and now I'll pull my hands back, and I'll still live. I'll do it one more time, and I'll hold forward, and I'll die. Notice how my hands don't come up. It's all relative to your velocity, okay? And this is gonna allow you in some amazing situations to really get the jump on your opponents. Now, it's important. I've noticed that the threshold for no Mountaineer is under 50 meters. So if I try to do this right here, and I pull my hands back, I will still break my legs. Okay, without Mountaineer, the threshold is about 40 meters, I've noticed. But you can use this in situations like maybe you're trying to glide in first and you want to get to a loadout, or you want to get to a helicopter. You can use that to drop in and get into a helicopter without ever pulling your chute, even though normally this distance would absolutely kill you. And it gets even better. Let's say you're trying to land in first. You're trying to get in here. Normally this distance would have killed you height-wise. Okay, now you don't have to pull your chute. You can turn around and try to gun the people who are around you. Same thing. Standard cliff you guys would often jump to without Mountaineer, 17 meters, you break your legs. Now you can use this technique in, you know, sometimes some special ways to just completely swan on an opponent and surprise them. And this is all without Mountaineer. You can do some crazy stuff. I mean, are you kidding? This is without Mountaineer, by the way. That's like 40 meters vertical and you live. There are so many different examples. This is without Mountaineer whenever I jumped on this guy and land on him. There's a lot of examples of how you can use this to make fast rotations without having to worry about pulling your chute. Okay. Now let's talk about real quick with Mountaineer. One more example without Mountaineer, just on kind of a live example. If you were to be dropping in on someone, I don't have to worry about pulling my chute, and you can get that easy kill. Okay. This all started for me with some experimenting I was doing for a myth testing video around dumpster diving. Now, I'd be like, Isaac, dumpster diving? Okay. Something we would do, and this is the only clip I could find of it from my buddy Unrational, is back in Warzone 2, there were dumpsters, and if you landed in the dumpster full speed, it would actually break your fall. Don't ask me why, but if you would jump in, boom, you could live. And so I thought to myself, man, I wonder if that mechanic is still here inside of Warzone. And so I would go in here, and I would go and I would land on a dumpster and I would live. I'm like, oh my God, I survived. What's going on? And I tried this over and over and over. If you were wondering why I wasn't streaming, it's because I was jumping into a dumpster for 6 hours straight, trying to figure out why I was surviving. And I had this wild realization where I tried it here and I lived. And then I tried it here and I cut it short and I lived. And you can kind of see my brain trying to figure out what the heck just happened. And then I went into a giant rabbit hole and figured all of this out, that it is velocity based. And now with Mountaineer combined with the reduced velocity, you never have to pull your parachute again. Whether you're trying to get somewhere safe without pulling your parachute, or in this situation right here, I go to a zip, I go back to the exact same zip because I see someone below me and I want to kill them before they hit the zip and go. You never have to pull your parachute, at least in my testing, if the difference is 100 meters. And it is not specific to, and this is, once again, an important note, it's velocity based, right? So on that first one, when I killed this guy, notice how at the very end, I pull my hands back. Here, I dive forward, velocity based, I splat. But it's not just relative to redeploy drones, right? This can be done off normal buildings as well. You can see here, I'm just diving all the way across the map. I just pull my hands back, and I mean, I don't even take half damage. I kind of wondered to myself, how far can I push this? How far can I drop without taking any fall damage? Well, we already know the distance is 36 meters if I am in free fall, but if I'm in skydive, which is once again above that 50-meter number, now we can make some insane rotations without ever having to worry about pulling our chute. In fact, you can go as high, in my experience, of 100 meters and not have to worry about pulling your chute. Now, this is while I jump. Without pulling my chute, I just hold back the entire way down. All right, so I'm not falling as fast as I possibly could, but I still live. On this example, I'm going to dive forward a little bit, but then pull back about halfway through, 113 meters, dive forward, pull back, and I still live. I don't know the exact parameters around it, but once again, it does seem to be velocity based. I try to push myself a little bit more forward, right? Really push the limits of it. I dive forward. I really pick up some speed. I pick up some horizontal speed. Then I try to pull it back, and I think I cut it a little bit too close. So I'm really trying to get the most out of this. But from building to building hops, and even some crazy plays like parallel ground to parallel ground, you could make some insane plays like landing on the roof of a car while it's driving. And he pulled, man. He pulled at the last second. It was going to be a great clip. But look, I took like a quarter damage. I could have dropped like another 50 meters. It's so dang good. You can even use it out of a helicopter as well. Let's say you're just trying to drop onto a building. Maybe you're trying to take that big dome building that's often camped. Well, guess what? I can see just based off of that ping, it's about 110 meters. Well, I know that I can survive that. I jump, I pull my parachute, so I initiate the dive. Boom, I can get my hands down, start shooting people out of the air. I hear someone gliding in behind me, start shooting him. You are able to play significantly more aggressively, and you still do take that risk because absolutely when you hit the ground, you're taking a significant amount of health damage as well as a little bit of the stagger, but that is nothing compared to the awkward pulling your chute stagger. So I think as a result of both them, you know, maybe reducing the overall fall damage, plus obviously Mountaineer got a buff, combining that with the findings of reduced fall damage with reduced velocity, it all combines together, all of these together, to just create an amazing system where now, as a member of the Academy, because you guys watch these videos and you subscribe, if you haven't already, what are you doing? If you learn something new, who else is spending 13 hours diving into a dumpster doing tests for you guys? Do me a favor, subscribe, make sure to have notifications on because I have more hidden changes not included within this video. Make sure to drop a like as well if you guys are excited to use this. I personally think this is awesome. I hope it stays in the game. I know it's not realistic at all, but guess what? You had your fun with Infinity Ward the past 2 years. Realism is dying. This game is getting fun and free again. Less animations, less gas mask animations, more fluidity, and still a little bit of that balance of the partial fall damage. And I like it. I don't even know if the devs realize this happened. Who knows? If they do, I hope it stays. Let it stay. Let us have some fun, okay? Let us have some fun. I think this is cool. If you guys learned something new, make sure to drop a like on this video. Subscribe for even more. Get your freaking PCs optimized by FPS Hub. And I will see you all live over on Twitch. Peace.